Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode from Your Own Pathway Leadership and Mental Well-Being in the Workplace. For those who don't know me, my name is Poiab. I'm a trained psychotherapist turned empowerment life coach and organizational leadership consultant, where I bring my experience, knowledge, and expertise to empower all of you to forge your own path and to own it. So, happy June. We are in the middle of June, and I gotta be honest, the world is chaotic right now. The world is chaos right now, and it's also important to be socially aware and to also protect yourself and your energy. So, today's episode, I wanted to bring forth about all the things that are going on in the world and the choices that we have to make when it comes to our professional work. And so, for those who don't know, I was a social worker for a number of years. So, a lot of years. I was a social worker for probably 12 years before I transitioned to being a therapist. And there were a lot of moral, ethical values that I encountered as a social worker, especially working in social services, in the hospital, and also being a therapist. There were a lot of values and ethics and sometimes moral dilemmas that I encountered. And I know that with everything going on right now, I know that there are certain professions that are probably going through this dilemma also. And I want to put it out there that you don't have to have a job that is, being a police officer, being a doctor, being a nurse, being a social worker. You don't have to have that kind of profession. Sometimes it's like doing things like when I was in sales at my God, what did I work? Sam's Club. Part of my job was to always offer certain programs and things that honestly I thought it was stupid, and I would get in trouble for accepting no too soon. I'm like, "Do you want to sign up for a credit?" They're like, "No." I'm like, "Okay." I'm like, "Why would anybody want to do that? Or why would anybody want to sign up for magazines? I don't want that extra crap." So I understood it, but I got in trouble because I did not have a rebuttal when they declined. I was just like, "Oh yeah, I totally understand." So saying, it doesn't have to be huge moral dilemma or ethical dilemmas. It can be something as easy as that. It's like, I don't want to offer this stupid credit card that is 35%, APR. So today's episode is going to address, okay, do you have to choose between your job and your morals? And so I'm going to break this episode in two parts where I discuss what are areas in which you may feel where your ethics, your values are being compromised. And then the second part is what can you do when you feel that your values, your ethics are being compromised. So today's episode is going to focus on that. So let's get right to it. So, as I mentioned, many of us have been there. We have been in situations in our jobs where our jobs demands certain responsibilities that may conflict with our values or our personal morals or our ethics. And it's a tough spot to be. It is definitely a tough spot to be, feeling like you're being pulled into like different directions. And imagine having to do something that really goes against what you believe in just to keep your job. So it's a dilemma that many of us face, and it could be really stressful. And quite frankly, it can get to our souls. And again, as I mentioned at the beginning, this can happen to any of us who are in jobs in sales and nursing and medical, or whatever it is that you are in. And yes, it can happen in fast food too. So whatever job or whatever field that you are in, and please know that your ethics and morals are being challenged or questioned in the workplace is when you start feeling a consistent like tug in your gut, or when it's being asked of you or expected of you to silently tolerate things that don't align with you. and you start questioning you start questioning, am I being asked to do something that is right or wrong that goes against everything that I believe in? So, for the next steps here, I'm going to discuss like what are the clear signs that you're questioning, saying, "Am I being, are my ethics, are my values, um, are they being compromised right now?" So, the following five bullet points are there if you're feeling this way. So, number one is if you're being asked to be silent or to be quiet about something. I think we all hear about this where when there's like a whistleblower and there's a lot of cover up and they're being asked, so many people are being asked to be silent or be quiet about something wrong. And so this can include if you were to witness harm, if you were to witness exclusion, discrimination, prejudice, abuse, and you're told to, you know what, just let it go. Let it go. It's not none of your concern. Stay in your lane. Don't make it personal. This is none of your business. And so maybe when you do question something, that's what is being said to you. Or you're being discouraged from reporting or documenting ethical behavior. And yet, you know that when you're being told that, in your gut, that if this feels wrong, that being silent feels wrong, it probably is. So, number one is you're being asked to be silent about something wrong. So, number two, we hear about this a lot, and we hear when shortcuts are being rewarded, even if it's shady. We hear a lot about the shady behavior and how it's accepted. So, maybe what you see or what you're being asked to is that you see coworkers getting ahead by lying, by manipulating, by distorting data, or exploiting others. And when this happens, is when leadership is complicit to this and they turn a blind eye to the behavior and there are no consequences and there's no accountability for that person who chooses to take shortcuts, to display shady behavior. And what happens if you're feeling like, you know what, my ethics, my values, my integrity is worth more than this? Yeah. If you're saying that, that is a more red flag for you right there. When you notice all of this, the shortcuts are being rewarded, even if it's shady, and leadership is turning a blind eye. So, yes. So that's number two. Shortcuts are rewarded even if they are shady. Number three is when you're asked to compromise your integrity to keep your job. Oof. How many of you have been told to do this? Looking at my professional career, there have been instances when they've said it, but they didn't say it in that way. So maybe leadership or higher ups or somebody within your company is saying, you know what, you just got to change your story, adjust your story, or bend the rules just a little, or make it look good. How many of us have been told that? I have, and yeah, it gets to you. You really start questioning what am I being told to do here? And if I do this, am I going to be the fallback person? So it's something to think about too. You fear speaking the truth because it might cost you opportunities. A lot of us stay silent because we need the job, or you may be blacklisted from getting a promotion if you speak up or if you say something. And when you have, we all have bills to pay. We all have bills to pay, not play. We all have bills to pay, and If our future opportunities are being compromised, yeah, we have to think, okay, is this worth it or not? So speaking the truth, because speaking out the truth may cost you future opportunities. And when this situation happens, when you're asked to compromise your integrity to keep your job, ask yourself, if I keep doing this, who am I becoming? Who am I becoming if I keep doing this? And we all have free will. We all have free will, and we all get to decide what we want to do with that will. If that's something that you can live with, you know, more power to you, I guess. And if there's something that you don't want to live with, kudos to you also. So you really have to ask yourself, who am I becoming? Is this someone who I can accept? So number 3 is you're asked to compromise your integrity to keep your job. Number 4, there's a culture of fear and not accountability. I discussed this previously, and this happens because, this happens when people don't speak up because the retaliation is real. When you build a culture of fear, nobody wants to speak up because of consequences. There are dire consequences. Again, it could be lack of promotion, it could be other things. Mistakes are hidden and not addressed. Again, we see this in a lot of big cases where there's a whistleblower and it's like, wow, there's a lot of things that are hidden and not addressed to be fixed. We see this so much is power is protected, not questioned. Power is protected a lot of times and not questioned. And when this happens, fear replaces the trust, and ethics are already compromised when this occurs. So there's a culture of fear and not accountability. That's number 4. Number 5 is you're constantly emotionally torn or morally exhausted. I remember in some of my jobs where I felt moral dilemma. I would come home. I couldn't move. I could not move. I questioned what I was doing was right. And I often said, I did not go to school for this. I did not go to school for this. I know that I had to make tough decisions as a social worker, but not at this expense where I have to, um, you know, somebody's dying on hospice and they're not dying fast enough, but they can't stay in the hospital and they need to go to nursing home. But nursing home, Medicare won't pay for the nursing home. They'll pay for hospice, but this person doesn't have money to pay for a nursing home, which is like $250 a day. And I have to keep making all these calls, even though they're dying, but they're just not dying at the rate that we need them to. So that could be really hard. And especially if you work in the medical field, I know that a lot of you are dealing with a lot of moral dilemmas also, and like who pick and choose who deserves services more or who gets second choice. That could be hard, especially when there are resources that are limited. So you go home feeling guilty, depleted, or you dissociate who you really are. How many of us have dissociated? I've dissociated from jobs, and 2 days is not enough to dissociate from. 2 days is not enough days to rest and dissociate. When you're just about to dissociate, you're back in the environment again. And that's exhausting. That is so exhausting. And of course, we know what happens to us morally, emotionally, physically, psychologically, and spiritually impacts us physically. What also happens is your values, like your honesty, the fairness, the respect, may feel compromised day after day after day when you're constantly emotionally torn or morally exhausted. And so when this happens, again, your nervous system will tell you, will speak to you before your brain can explain. So listen to the discomfort and listen to your body. I say this again, I say this today. Your body never lies. Our mind may try to lie to us, but our body never lies. So, final reminder for this part is when your ethics are being questioned and you are not questioning what is being done, your silence is an agreement. And you don't have to play along to belong. You're allowed to stand in your truth, even if others aren't ready. So, I know that was a tough one. I know those are the 5 steps on how to clear signs to help you recognize what's happening to you. Okay, so we are going to move on. The first part explained about what you're feeling or what may be going through your mind when you feel if you're going through a moral dilemma, being compromised in your values, your ethics, what you believe in. The next part of this is discussing how to answer those questions. How to answer those questions, what can you do? So, if you're facing a moral dilemma or an ethical dilemma at work, what this means is like your internal values are clashing with your external experiences, the actions or systems. And it's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable, but also a powerful invitation for you to lead and question your integrity, your values, your ethics, and what are your foundations. So, to help you question or kind of, question your morals or question your dilemmas or what it is that you need to do, the first question you need to ask yourself is get clear on what is being compromised that is bothering you. Ask yourself this. What values what values of yours or mine are being challenged? Is it like the honesty, the respect, the fairness? Is this a one-time situation or is this a recurring issue? Is the harm being done to yourself or to others or to the company? So if you're asking, is this right? You already feel it's wrong. Name it clearly. Name it. Name the feeling. Name what is being compromised. So that's the first thing. The second thing, you hear this all the time, is document, document, document. Document everything. Keep a personal record of what's happening, the dates, the times, the people involved, emails, keep your responses. Keep a paper trail. Keep a paper trail. Protect yourself. Protect yourself. Write things down. Write how you're conflicted. Write down how you're feeling, the people you're dealing with, because this protects you and this gives you factual foundation if things do escalate. Moving on to number 3 is reflect before you react. And this means avoid impulsive responses. I think when something like this happens, some of us can let emotion rule us instead of, okay, we want to react instead of responding. So do not react, more respond. And ask yourself, what are you responding to? So avoid impulsive response reactions and take time to consider your options. Also, if you are able to, talk to someone outside of work, like a third party, a mentor, a coach, or a therapist about this. Yes, you can definitely talk to family. And yet family can do so much, yes. But having a professional who can help you, not tell you, help you or guide you to what you need to do that feels aligned with your morals, your ethics, and your values. And this can, of course, include a mentor, a coach, or a therapist. And I can tell you, as a therapist, I have sat with a lot of clients to help them navigate through moral dilemmas, through ethical violations, and how to move forth when they notice a violation. So, um, they're not there to tell you what to do. They're there to help guide you on what you need to do for yourself. So, talk with someone outside of work and ask yourself, would this decision that I make, would I feel proud? Would I feel proud a year or two or for the rest of my life from now if I decide to not do anything about it or if I decide to do something about it? So number 3 is reflect before you react. Number 4, we kind of talked about this earlier too, is evaluate the consequences. And you got to be honest and ask yourself, what are the risks of speaking up? What are the risks of staying silent, of not doing anything? Could this affect others or set like motion or precedent? Um, can this be resolved internally or is this a signal to exit? At the end of the day, you have to look out for yourself. You have to look out for yourself. You have to protect yourself. You have to protect your well being. You have to protect every area of your life. And remember that you don't owe loyalty. You don't owe loyalty to a system that demands you to betray yourself, to compromise, again, your morals, your ethics, your values. And if that's how you feel, then it's okay to protect yourself. Number 5 is speak up strategically. And what I mean by this is if you do decide to address this and go forth, is start with curiosity and not accusation. Certain situations, it's easy to start with accusation, but if you put an accusation, they're going to come off very confrontational. The other person is already going to be like, "Whoa, what is this about?" So, maybe put it in a way it's just like, I notice something, or I like to get clarity on. Make it a curiosity. Make it very curious. Another thing you can do is ask for policies or guidelines, like what's a protocol on this for a situation like this, so that if anything like this ever happen again, what are we going to do? So this may include new soaps, standard operations, and procedures. Oh gosh, soaps. I do not miss soaps at all, by the way. And this one's I know a lot of people don't trust HR, which I don't blame them. If anybody who's watching, who is a HR watching this, my intention is never to offend you. And speak with my experience and a lot of people's experience, HR is not there to advocate for us. And if it is appropriate to loop in HR and if it's safe to do so with specific examples, not just the feelings of it also. And if HR does nothing about it, however, if you and other people are the ones, voicing your concerns, it may bring attention to it also. So you got to speak up strategically. I can't say that word. So speak your truth, but also protect your peace. Also protect your peace. And lastly, number 6 is give yourself permission to leave if necessary. If your ethics are repeatedly being violated and your voice is minimized, it may be time for you to go. And you don't have to stay in an environment that damages your integrity or your sanity or your safety or your spirit. None of that is worth more than a paycheck. Again, I know that we all live different lives. I know we all have different situations. I know that some people may feel that all of this is worth a paycheck. And If that is your scenario, I'm not here to judge. I'm not here to shame. It's use your discernment on what you feel is right and really look at everything holistically, and not just the paycheck. So your integrity has your integrity is your compass. When a workplace requires you to ignore again your values, your morals, your ethics, and you're questioning all of this and you're going home depleted, you're not feeling well, that that is time to really reevaluate and probably say that this place no longer aligns with me as a person, as personally, professionally, whatever it is that you identify with. My final words are trust your inner compass, honor your values, even if it's hard. And ask yourself again, will you be willing to trade your peace and purpose for a paycheck? Again, like I said before, it is up to you to decide. At some point in your life, though, will you be able to look at yourself in the mirror and see who you like and what you have become? If you say, yeah, I can live with myself, all I need the money, I mean, again, kudos to you. If you can't, ask yourself, what are your next steps? Who have you become? And what are you willing to have on your conscience? Only you can answer that. Only you can decide for yourself. Again, we all have free will. We all have the right to make decisions for yourself. And whatever you decide, there's no shame, there's no judgment. You decide what you're willing to accept for yourself and your conscience. So that is all I have for today. So if any of you who is watching this, who's ever faced a similar dilemma where your ethics, your values, your morals are being compromised, please share your story in the comments below. And if you're interested in more videos like this on career development, on mental well being in the workplace, please check out my other videos. And if you are new to this episode or to my channel, please hit the like and subscribe button. I would love to have all your support. And that is all I have for today. And I hope you all are doing well. Please stay safe. Please stay well. Please stay healthy. And I will see you all next time.